Eric John here. I head up IAB's Media Center of Excellence. This is a conversation about the role of automation in programmatic, use of programmatic in CTV. We have a poll that we're going to put in front of you. So Robbie and team, please put that poll up, and then I'll give a little bit of background. So here's why programmatic is playing such a key role. You know, for the longest time, upfronts, new fronts, they've always been about reserve-based buying. There's a lot more signal now today to inform audience-based value. And so the conversation today with our panel is going to be about what are the important things to realize in the use of automation. Let's see what that poll says. Okay. Upside in for programmatic and CTV to enable cross-platform buying is in the lead. Use of programmatic to enable optimization of campaigns coming in second, it looks like. Use of multiple data types to inform inventory coming in third. And last, but definitely not least, managing brand safety and suitability. Okay, with that, let's bring up our panel. So I'd like to introduce from Spectrum Reach, Jackie Perez. Are you there?
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. I have to ask you, were you hearing what I was saying? I'm hoping.
Parts of it.
Okay.
But I love the poll results. Cross-platform buying.
Yeah. Well, so Jackie, let's bring up Jamie DiGirolamo from Magnite. Come on up, Jamie. And
Hey, Jackie.
Esra Bacher from GroupM. Are you there?
Hi, everyone. Good to see you.
Awesome. There we are. Okay, we have a super trio of folks to unpack this topic. Just before we jump in, the comfort in the use of programmatic is growing steadily. 26 billion expected this year of CTV to be transacted programmatically. That represents roughly 3/4 of CTV transactions. That is nearly double what it was pre-pandemic. So clearly people are seeing value. Thanks for taking the poll. But let's hear from our experts. So it's springtime. We've got the dance of the upfronts and the new fronts starting soon. Programmatic is being used in a much bigger way. It's really still about a partnership conversation. So let's talk first about how do you think about partnership to deliver scale through programmatic? Esra, you hold the purse strings. Let's start with you. How do you think about partnership for your clients?
Yeah, I mean, we know that technology is playing a critical role in how the inventory is transacted. When it comes to specifically CTV, I think the notion of partnerships will never go away, despite the fact that we are going to use more platform dictated buying, AI and custom algorithms, you name it, right? But the notion of partnerships is critical because of the fact that it's such a premium media that we are dealing with. And there are obviously also the legacy linear part to our business, which is still very valid, still very significant in terms of how linear TV is being bought. So from kind of partnerships, programmatic partnerships perspective, we definitely have a publisher-centric view, while we are using the technology to have a more data-driven approach as to how we are accessing the inventory. So, and to your point, we have seen significant increase in how much our clients have adopted CTV programmatically. We know that in the US, we have around 30% of the households that are either cord cutters or cord nevers. That means around 40 million households that needed to be reached through CTV digital, right? So from that perspective, it's not either or conversation anymore. It's really accessing the audience holistically across multiple different touch points.
Super. Jackie, you're representing the publisher universe. How do you think and how have you approached partnerships and working with folks like Jamie and Esra?
Sure. So partnerships is key to what we do on a day-to-day basis, especially in the field in which we work in, right? It's an exciting time to be in CTV right now because the spotlight is bright hot on it, right? Sight, sound, and motion on the big screen in the home is an effective way to capture millions of attention. And as we know, that's been the case for decades. And the only difference today is that more and more of the video content that we watch is delivered via the internet. So naturally, we see growth in media investment in this space because marketers use it as a way to reach their audiences. And with the increase in adoption for programmatic to activate their cross-platform buys, which came in first on the poll, we're excited for client partners like GroupM to be able to access CTV inventory via tech partners like Magnite. Our inventory includes fully ad-supported Spectrum TV, which has 7 million authenticated Spectrum customers watching over 130 networks, and it continues to grow roughly at about 250,000 every month. And so I think, Eric, we're in a great position to answer the call to deliver partnership opportunities for both clients and our tech partners.
Jamie, I want you to share, if you would, what's the role of the SSP? People talk about programmatic, they may not necessarily understand the dynamics and the key features of programmatic and CTV, which are different than display. It is a far more, Esra, to your point, and Jackie, about content, premium nature of the content. How do you work with, Jamie, your clients to make sure that that value of the inventory is expressed, and how does the SSP enable that?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So we've had a long established relationship with premium publishers. It's not display. There's a lot more content signals that are coming through. There's a lot more pod management that needs to be done. There needs to be that, inherent trust between a buyer and a seller. And, our SSP technology helps bridge that gap where, Jackie in the publisher world can bring on their inventory through a programmatic pipe, through automation. We're connected to downstream DSPs, which the buyers want to operate and buy on. And we're helping bring those content signals that Esra's, going into an upfront market, procuring that inventory, bringing it into a centralized hub where she can make better decisions for her clients who want to manage this portfolio of inventory, which is very complicated, right? I think there's a finite number of hours in a day and there's a finite number of eyeballs. It's not unlimited supply in the display world, right? So it's very coveted inventory that needs to be managed like we're so used to, in the traditional linear scope, where pod management, ad management are more important to the content producer and the end consumer than ever before.
Yeah. And ultimately, that all speaks to enabling folks like Esra to transact the inventory in the way that people are consuming it, wherever, whenever, however, and whoever. So Esra, let's talk about something that I think has changed, certainly in the years that I've been talking about programmatic and CTV, which is scale, right? I think in the early days, there was a perception, maybe there's not enough audience there. Well, where you've got, nearly 40% of viewership happening in streaming now, that's scale. But how do you think about, or how do you approach getting scale for your clients? Maybe speak a little bit about the type of clients that you're finding leaning in.
Yeah, I don't think scale is an issue for programmatic. So at GroupM, we are in a very fortunate position to have close relationships with the publishers, tech players in the supply chain, be it the DSPs, be it the SSPs. So navigating the complexity can be a challenge, but by working directly with publishers and technology partners really allow us to understand how audiences can be reached across linear, across CTV. Equally, the content owners know best where their audiences are and enabling us to capture the audiences both across linear and digital, since they have the best view into their audiences. So we could really untangle those relationships and understand what makes most sense to prioritize in terms of access points. And we love having a transparent marketplace and as direct as possible. That mission really allowed us to build strategic partnerships in the ecosystem, Magnite being a very big part of that. So by partnering with Magnite, we could really establish the groundwork of creating a fully transparent, auditable marketplace that has only hand-selected premium CTV inventory as part of that. that enables our publishers to really offer their inventory at scale to GroupM clients, as well as our clients, simplifying the access to CTV, premium CTV inventory, knowing that the landscape is very fragmented and can be a challenge to untangle and navigate as a client. So it brings lots of value for both publishers as well as our clients.
Spectrum, it's a big decision. You're now embracing programmatic fully. What has that meant? What was the calculus around the decision, and how are you managing what used to be far more direct, but is now increasingly automated?
Sure. I mean, we want buyers to be able to access our inventory in the way that works for them and their business. Mm-hmm. So certainly we are trying to evolve with them, right, in concert with them, to make sure that the process is simple and seamless as possible. And that's why we put in place the infrastructure to enable programmatic access. So, we work with SSP partners like Magnite, so that buyers like Esra and GroupM can receive the millions of bids from us. And of course, there's also, it's not just the technical enablement component. We have dedicated cross-functional teams working together to fulfill requests and help clients, quite frankly, make the optimizations against our inventory based off of what works for their KPIs. And of course, there's me, who will continue to work with customers and enable next-gen solutions.
I want to raise up I'm not sure if it's a hot button topic, but it is always front of when you think about the marketplace and how it's shifting, the question of what premium is. And so you talk to a room of 10 people, you might get 10 different answers, but I'd love to have each of you share, when you hear the word premium, what does it mean? Jamie, you have decisions to make. Who you partner with? What is a premium publisher in your world?
Yeah, thanks for putting me on the spot on that one. Right in the middle between a buyer and a seller. Yeah, so premium, of course, is in the eye of, I want to say beholder, but, premium, full episodic, professionally produced content, long form, not an over ad burden is where, I derive premium. And, what we're here to do is help that programmatic landscape adapt to that technology so we can, manage clash and pods. As we build marketplaces, we look to our partners to help, connect the supply and demand together. So, as Esra and company bring on their premium publishers, those are the publishers we work with, and we help bring those publishers on the sell side as well as service them on the buy side. So, I think of premium content as a linear replacement. It's a replacement of what we're used to in traditional linear. It's just moved to a different screen. So, I define premium in that full episode player.
Esra, is premium the content and the audience? More content, less? What's the balance for you?
I will tell what premium is not. So premium from our perspective is not user-generated content and short-form videos, right? That's not how we classify premium. I would agree with James. From our perspective, first of all, it has to be impressions created by humans, human eyeballs, bot-free, that's table stakes, right? And then we define CTV content as professionally developed, curated, typically long form or episodic full screen creative ads, where consumers choose what they will be watching. I think we all agree from that perspective that premium is really long form and professionally curated, no UGC, etc. There is a value space for UGC as well, but in the context of CTV and premium nature of that, we definitely don't count UGC as part of that. Video content is definitely a critical element of our consideration. So our premium video approach typically begins by defining an audience and then understanding the content they are watching, and then looking into the different distribution points of that content, and then having an understanding of that is really enabling us to prioritize the activation path, starting with the content owners to various different distribution platforms. So that would be kind of our approach from GroupM perspective.
Human-made content. I love that. Jackie, you are, Spectrum. I'm a New York One fan. I'm a Spectrum customer.
Yes.
And what matters more and more is engagement as well as subs, right? That is actually the metric that matters increasingly. How do you approach a portfolio of premium content for your viewers?
Sure. So I'm just going to piggyback off of what Esra mentioned, right? When I personally think of TV, right, my initial thought goes to automatically to professionally produce video content, professional lighting, talent, the editing, right, of the content. It all plays well together to capture our attention. So at Spectrum Reach, we have several differentiators. One is the fact that we offer a wide array of premium programming through the Spectrum TV app on networks like ESPN, MSNBC, HGTV, and of course, as you mentioned, Eric, our very owned and operated Spectrum News. And we are able to offer these to clients to help them meet those premium requirements. And secondarily, I think another point that you touched upon, Eric, when you posed the question is the data, right? The audiences. So our data is aggregated and, of course, de-identified and is aligned with best-in-class third party. So we're able to deliver to the right audiences in the right way in a privacy-focused manner. And in a time when we're constantly looking to establish greater efficiencies, this is also key as it reduces ad waste. So when you summarize what a truly premium experience is, it's the nature of the inventory coupled with the right data. And we encourage, any prospective clients to vet their partners, including us, through that lens.
Great. This is a conversation about where programmatic is, but it's also about where it's headed. And so let's look ahead for a minute. I think this is a really interesting conversation around how the use of automation will evolve. We're seeing lots of impact of AI coming across the whole landscape of optimization, as well as creative itself and content itself. What do you guys see as the potential for automation, not necessarily AI, but what's the potential for automation in marketplaces going forward? How do we make sure that the value in biddable marketplaces stays solid for both buyers and sellers? Jamie, maybe to you on that one.
Yeah, I think it kind of all goes down to the trust between the publisher and the buyer, right? And making sure all the content signals are in place. And the buyers have the ability to build all that into it, content signals, a unification of data, and everyone kind of getting in the same, let's call it song sheet, if you will. I think there's a lot of fragmentation still in CTV, so standardization will come and will help kind of, automation at scale, because if we're all kind of attacking the same problem together and we're all looking at the same signals, it allows the buyers and the sellers to transact the way they want, to find the right audience, be first-party publisher data through Magnite technology or a third-party data source. So it's an interesting place where we're going. I think we still have a little bit of work to do, but as we build trust in marketplaces and buyers and sellers are connected, that's what we're building for the marketplaces.
Esra, let me ask you, because Jamie, you just mentioned client data, and I think that's a super interesting part of the mix as well, and it's something that people are pointing to in the poll. How do you see, as advertisers are bringing more of their first party into the mix, how is programmatic playing a role in making the match and finding the right audiences?
I think the biggest impact is going to be on transacting more upfront dollars programmatically. I think we all agree that the notion of upfronts is going to change with the changes in consuming viewing habits, the fragmentation of the video buying marketplace, as well as the enriched data signals that we have at our disposal right now. So while traditional upfronts are driven by the ratings and the content, we are expecting that we will move to a highly data-driven planning and buying as part of the upfronts, which definitely is a huge area that requires further innovation. In example, how can we match advertiser first-party data against the content owner's first-party data and enable guaranteed access over a longer period of time? And I think we have the technologies in place that will enable that. Clean rooms have gained a lot of traction and buzz in the marketplace. We know from our publishers that they are working on with our clients, first-party data matches. So I think it's just a matter of time that we will be seeing more upfront dollars being transacted programmatically and having a data-driven approach. It will require some sort of standardization as to how those data signals are being shared between the platforms, which will enable, hopefully, the cross-platform holistic frequency reach management. But we are definitely on the right path for that.
Jackie, bring us home. Give us
All
your
right.
crystal ball. Yeah.
All right. So from my perspective, I think the direction is clear. The industry is headed towards automation, simplification, and a seamless customer experience. And we're certainly embracing that. It offers a wide array of advantages, right? Like reach, transparency, real-time data signals, being able to optimize relevancy and add adjacency to the messaging. And I guess like to put a bow on it, right? I'll end with this. We're innovating here at Spectrum Reach. So we're talking about streaming in the programmatic space, but certainly keep an eye out on us for linear programmatic as well.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it is a train that's bringing all the passengers forward, and thank you, panelists, for bringing the audience forward in the current state of CTV and programmatic. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Esra. And thank you, Jamie. And thanks to our viewers for watching.